This is the North Georgia Life Podcast. Embrace life, where you live. Welcome to the North Georgia Life Podcast. It's Jake, and today's episode is featuring the Olympic venue at Lake Lanier. Some of us have historically called it the rowing center, but it is far more than just a rowing center. There are community events every month at this location. We are hosts to national and international competitions for water sports. This summer, some of you know, a lot of you don't know, the U.S. Olympic team was having their selections for kayaking right here in Gainesville because of this venue. So there are international races, there's collegiate races where teams come from all over the country here to Gainesville to be on this Lake Lanier, and specifically to be at this venue. So it is a huge factor in the local economy, but also just attracting a lot of international interest and engagement and traffic and tourism to our North Georgia area. So I hope you get enlightened a little bit from it, and you'll get out to some of the events that we're going to share with you on the podcast that are open to the public, a lot of which, by and large, are free. And if you've not experienced some of these things, it's just a great experience to come out with a family. It is a great opportunity to create some new memories, get some exposure to some new things, and regardless of what your age is, there's a place if you wanted to get involved in any of these water sports that are host to the Olympic Center. There's plenty of opportunities to do that. So we hope you enjoy this episode. Don't forget, you can find us on Facebook, North Georgia Life Podcast. Find us on Instagram, same handle, and then email us if you have any questions or suggestions for future episodes. It's northgeorgialifepodcast@gmail.com. Welcome to the North Georgia Life Podcast. It is Jake, and I've got an episode today that is very near and dear to my heart. We are at the Lake Lanier Olympic venue, which is actually the first place that I think I set foot in North Georgia. Some of you know that I was a rower for 4 years in high school, rowed for a couple years at Clemson, and this was the site of one of the first college races that I remember coming to. One of the reasons, we did a lot of college races, obviously, but one of the reasons I specifically remember this was because it is a just absolutely perfect location for a rowing event. And I remember because we had to sleep on the gym floors at Bernal, which were very hard, and it was not a good night's sleep. But we are here with Robin Lynch, who is the Director of Tourism now for the city of Gainesville. She was just the Executive Director for the Lake Lanier Olympic Park, which has taken on new legs, which we'll talk about some of that. And for a lot of us in the area, the venue here, a lot of us associate with just being a rowing center, which it is far more than that, and we're going to get into some of that today. But one of the things that a lot of us don't think about is how much tourism, which is why Robin's been promoted, but how much tourism dollars this venue brings into the North Georgia area, specifically Gainesville, Hall County. You have people literally from all over the country and all over the world that come year after year, season after season for events because, you know, for those of us who are in this area, we drive by this and we know of the location and we really don't understand how special it is and how rare it is. But there are people that literally come from all over the world to little old Gainesville for this venue, and that's, you know, all of these people are shopping at places, eating at places, sleeping at places, so there is a lot of greater economic benefit that this place brings to the community and to the North Georgia region, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Robin, I know you're extremely busy, as we were just talking about. You've got a lot going on, so thanks for your time here.
Thank you for having me. Glad to have you out here again.
So Robin and I talked back in the summer and had some audio problems, so we're meeting again to do a second episode, which I'm kind of excited about because there's some new developments that we can talk about that we're not talking points at that point in the conversation. But for those of you who maybe think we're overinflating the venue here, I'm going to go through just a little bit of the history that I pulled for those of you who just maybe don't know how special this place is. So this is the location for the 96 Centennial Olympic Games, which was a big deal in and of itself. We had a lot of exposure, a lot of traffic because of that specific event. But after that, 97, the National Canoe and Kayak Championships. 2003, the Senior World Canoe Kayak Championships. 2010, the National Rowing Championships. 2011, the National Canoe Kayak Rowing Championships, as well as 2014. 2015, National Rowing Championship. 2016, Pan American Championship. 2018, the ICF Dragon Boat World Championship. You've also had in 2016, 2017, the U.S. and Canadian team trials here. In the summer when we were here, the U.S. National Kayaking Team was here making their testing ground for selecting the Olympic team for the upcoming Summer Olympics. So all of that taking place while a lot of us are driving back and forth on Clark's Bridge and don't have a whole lot about it, but there's a lot of community involvement and events here as well. So by that as a means of introduction, we'll start with Robin, just you yourself. Share a little bit about where you came from, how you got to Gainesville, how you've kind of found yourself now in this new position of Director of Tourism for the city of Gainesville.
Well, I am originally from Savannah, Georgia, and I came here. My husband was transferred here with his job, and so we came to Gainesville. I had never been here before, and I fell in love with this community right away. I worked at the Chamber of Commerce for several years and then branched out on my own and did some fundraising and event planning, and then I came to the Olympic Park in 2017. I have loved my time here. This is such a great venue, and it brings so many people in this community together, from volunteers and, like you said, so many visitors from outside the area. It's just an exciting place to be.
Yeah, and I would say you probably have the best office in and around Hall County.
There are no complaints. If you're having a bad day, just walk outside. Right now we can hear the birds and watch the lake, and it's just such a serene and calming location. There's just no place else like it here.
Yeah, there really isn't. Mm-hmm. You moved from Savannah to here. Were you looking to get involved in something like this when you moved here, or did this just kind of happen? I mean, you started at the Chamber?
I did, and through my work at the Chamber, I became familiar with the venue. I volunteered here for several events that happened here. The Chamber had an event here some years ago. In 2016, we had the 20-year anniversary of the Olympics, and so I served on the committee that planned a big celebration here. It was called Rio on the Water, and that's really where I got sucked in to the park and the people that work here. And when the job came available, I jumped right on it.
Yeah, it is. Everything she said about this location and the environment around here is absolutely dead on. There's been a number of changes or improvements, if you will, to the race course here, the grandstand.
We did. In 2016, went through a huge capital campaign, capital improvements here, where we added a handicap ramp, handicap access to the tower, and restrooms in the tower, which, if you think about it, back for the Olympics, there were no restrooms in here. So when the officials needed to excuse themselves, it took some time because they had to run across the street to use the restroom and back. So having those improvements has made a big difference, and it's helped us get some additional regattas here that maybe some officials didn't think this was the greatest place before them because
we're sorry
of that.
About that.
But definitely it's our water that brings the regattas. This is 2,000 meters of flat, straight water. With the natural barriers, we don't get a lot of waves, and so athletes across the world talk about this venue and love it. We're one of the top 3 venues in the world because of the water.
I would 100% agree with that. The course that we rode on at Clemson and have been around to places like Chattanooga and our local southeast region, a lot of us think, well, it's just all you need is, a body of water big enough for 8 lanes. Well, no, it's not just that, because you have to have room for boats to get back and forth on the side of the race course, and a lot of them, and you have to have staging areas because while you have one race going on, you're getting usually 2 to 3 groups of other boats ready for to get locked in. So you move them on quickly. And then once they're finished, they got to have places to go, and you got people on the docks. And so there's all those things that are involved. And to have all of that take place here and be kind of sheltered, like you were talking about, from being real choppy water, real open water, is very, very rare. So this is from a water sport perspective, this is about as good as you're going to find anywhere that I know of. Can you give us a little history prior to the Olympics? What was this? How did this venue get started?
Prior to the Olympics, this was known as Clarksbridge Park. There's a boat ramp here that was used all the time and is still used 365 days a year. There's also a beach and picnic areas. So that's primarily what this park was used for prior to the Olympics.
The property itself is about 35 acres.
That's correct.
Is that about right? So it's a lot bigger than when you're just driving across the park and you see, the boat ramp on the one side and the boathouse on the other side. There's actually 35 acres that is part of the park that is surrounding that. Which I guess a good bit of that is probably core property.
It's all core property.
It's all core property.
It is.
I want to kind of segue. So excited, like we were talking about when we walked in. I got a sneak peek at something that is coming around the bend here. Share with us a little bit about some of the improvements, renovations, construction work going on in the upcoming years here.
Sure. Over the last 2 years, we have been working with the Corps of Engineers on a master plan for the park. It took about 18 months to put together and to get approved by the Corps. And with that, we're going to add picnic pavilions, some sunshade over on the grandstand side, as well as new restrooms in the park. And the biggest thing is going to be a new boathouse. The boathouse that's currently there was built to be a temporary facility for the Olympics. It was built in '95, and it is a metal framed building that just is in need of a lot of attention, and we're really excited. We have been working over the last few months putting together a design plan for a new boathouse, and that's what you've been able to take a sneak peek at today. And so with that are going to be improved facilities for athletes, which is our top priority. The visiting athletes that come here bring in a lot of economic impact to our community, and we want to keep the Olympic legacy alive here. And so we're adding some new facilities for them. But with that, we're also adding some meeting spaces, a ballroom, and a wedding venue. So we're really excited. Where the boathouse sits on Lake Lanier is the most amazing sunset that you could ever imagine. And so we knew that when we redid the boathouse, having a venue, a space that would be for weddings would be a priority. So we've got that in our plans. We're really excited.
Yeah. So when I walked in to start getting the equipment set up to record, I saw that they've got the rendering on the side of the wall, and I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, it's like a lodge. I mean, this is not going to be, for those of you in the water sport, rowing, kayaking, this is not a boathouse. I mean, this reminds me of something that you might see, something up on the Charles. If you've ever been up to race up in Boston, they've got, just these boathouses that don't look like boathouses. They look like just stunning architecture, and they have boathouses with them. Same in Philadelphia. If you've been to Boathouse Row on the Schuylkill, that's a similar thing. This is going to be an absolutely incredible venue. Do we have any idea when, best case scenario, completion time? We talked about this is going to take about 18 months or so to build.
Once we start building, it will be 18 months, but we're thinking completing our design plans and the permitting. There may be some additional permitting that the Corps of Engineers is going to require. So we're thinking that process may take a year. So we're looking at 2.5 to 3 years from now for completion.
Okay. Which is about right for this kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah. But we are beyond excited for the community and for visiting athletes and our own athletes that train here every day. Yeah.
What's your favorite part about what you do? Because you're transitioning now to something that has a bigger scope than just the rowing or the Olympic venue here. You've met people from literally all across the world that come here. Most of us that like to travel will never get exposure to all these people from all these places. Is there anything, job, environment, whatever wise, that just stands out as like, this is what I love most about what I do?
It's the people. Like you said, we get visitors here from all over the world. Last year, when we hosted the World Dragon Boat Championships, we had teams from 15 countries here. And
Wow.
It was really phenomenal to just get to talk to them and visit with them and share our community with them. We have so many great things in Hall County and in Gainesville.
Mm-hmm.
So just having them here. But my favorite part about the job is the event planning.
Mm-hmm.
I love the events that happen here, the water events as well as other types of events. It's just really just the perfect venue for really so many different types of programming and events. So that's definitely my favorite.
And a lot of those events that are hosted here, and those of us who are in the surrounding community, you start to see when the traffic influx starts to happen. You start to see trailers going around the Jesse Jewell and stuff like that. But a lot of these are open to the public. There's people that are in the surrounding community can just come. They don't have to have anybody that's a friend or family member participating, but these are really great, just kind of exposure elements for families to come out and come out to race day, watch the teams compete. And while it's not a high octane thing, there's a lot of energy around the events that are here, from dragon boats to rowing to kayaking, and people who are in the surrounding area that want to just come by and spend a half a day with their kids, just on the side of the grandstand or whatever. That's open to the public, right?
Yes, there are very few events that we have out here that are closed. And the great thing is we have, high performance athletes that are Olympic level athletes, all the way down to your local, company team that participates here in a team building or in a dragon boat festival. You can come here and rent canoes, kayaks, paddle boards here. We also have other types of sporting activities. We have wakeboarding championships every year. Just a few weeks ago, we had a wake skate championship. That to me was a new sport, so it was really fun to get to see them here. So we have triathlons. So there's a lot of things here that people, not only can they come out and watch, but they can also find ways to participate as well.
And there's the boathouse itself. There's programs for people of all ages and levels that want to get involved or kind of get their toes wet, so to speak, in kayaking, canoeing, dragon boats, all of those things. There's local clubs here at the boathouse that, for somebody who's got a middle schooler that's tired of playing soccer and wants to do something different, it's a good way to burn off some energy, but may give them a new passion to pursue for the next few years of school.
It is. We have youth programs with both the Canoe Kayak Club and the Lake Lanier Rowing Club, and most of those do start, like you said, at the middle school level, and it is a great non-traditional sport for kids to get involved in. So if they don't want to play football or basketball or baseball, they should come out and try kayaking or rowing. These kids here that train and practice here every day, they are just a great group of kids to be around. They love the water. They get to travel, so it's really great for young athletes.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I got started, because I started in 9th grade, and I had played travel soccer, travel baseball. If you don't play year round and you don't do things like that, then you don't get a whole lot of playing time. And I knew that was kind of where I was at, and so, but I wanted to do something for high school for athletics, so I started rowing, and honestly, pretty much everybody that I was rowing with was in a very similar situation where everybody's coming in relatively new, they don't have any experience, and so everybody's kind of on that same playing field. Whereas maybe other sports, somebody's been playing for their whole life and going to all these camps. And for parents that are listening that would just like a great kind of easy invite activity where literally nobody starts out good. It's like everybody starts out at the same level. So,
right, and there's programs depending on if your kid just wants to do it recreationally, they can do that. But if they want to continue to improve and become a high performance athlete, they can. So really, no matter what level your kids want to be at, there's something here for them.
Yeah. Any particular memory stand out as like one of your best memories here?
Oh, wow. There's so many memories here. I have a couple of events, obviously, that are really special to me that I love. I loved the World Dragon Boat Championships last year. I love the Lake Show, which is a big concert series that we have in partnership with the John Gerard Foundation every year. I love that event because it brings out so many community members. And I love to see the local community enjoying the park. So those are probably two of my favorite. We've had some real interesting events here. A few years ago, we had an EDM music festival here, which was really interesting. That was something I'd never experienced before. So there's definitely something for everyone here.
And you've got things that happen on a regular basis here. I think it was Friday night. Is it Friday nights?
We do. We have once a month. It's the second Friday of every month, Food Truck Friday.
Food Truck Friday.
And it is fantastic. We'll have 1,500 people come out. We have food trucks, craft beer vendors, retail vendors, and we'll have live music. And
you're on the lake.
And you're on the lake, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, we've really, this year I've called this the summer of live music here, because with Food Truck Fridays we have live music, we have Wine Down Wednesdays where we have music, and then we have
just
a
got some
couple of
people's
concerts.
attention.
Yes, Wine Wednesday, the last Wednesday of every month. It's so fun.
So with all of that here, are there anything other than the lake that is like one of your favorite things to do, places to be here in the North Georgia area?
Oh gosh, there's so many really great things about this area. We have a great art community. The Quinlan Visual Arts Center is a wonderful venue. The Northeast Georgia History Center is wonderful. There's the Parks and Rec Department has beautiful parks throughout the city. So there's just a lot of outdoor activities that you can do in this area.
From a recurring event perspective, what are some things that we host here on a regular basis that for those of people who may be listening to this, in a week or 6 months down the road, they can kind of look on their calendars. We have recurring here at the property.
Sure, we have a bunch. We have several regattas that are recurring every year. We have the John Hunter Regatta, which is rowing. That happens in the end of March every year, and that brings college and high school teams from around the Southeast. It's a huge event.
Yeah, there's a ton of people here for that.
A ton. And then Memorial Day weekend every year we host the ACRA Championships. That's the American Collegiate Rowing Association. And that brings teams from across the U.S. here. So that is really exciting to come and watch. So if you have a favorite team, it's pretty likely that they're going to be here competing.
If you're
for
depressed
ACRA.
from college football being gone.
Exactly. You can come and cheer on your favorite team here. We host the Boys and Girls Club Rubber Duck Derby every year. The Lake Show with the John Gerard Foundation that we already talked about. The biggest event that we host every year is the Lake Lanier Hong Kong Dragon Boat Festival. It is the first weekend in September of every year. We just had it a few weeks ago. That brings about 7,000 people to this park in one day. We had 83 teams.
Wow.
And there are different categories of teams. Some are very competitive. Some are just groups of friends that get together. So it's really fun. There are about 14 categories that win prizes, but it is a huge Asian cultural festival. And so we have vendors here, and it is just a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's some good eating.
Good eating. Yeah, it's so much fun.
With all these people coming on a regular basis, and then we have other things that may not be annual recurring, but there's things here all the time. Is there any kind of gauge for the economic impact for the greater community based on that?
We do an economic impact study every year. Last year, we had a $6 million economic impact to Gainesville Hall County. The Dragon Boat World Championships by itself for the 1 week that it was happening here was 1.4 million.
Oh my gosh.
So on an average, depending on, because we have some recurring events that only happen every other year, but our annual impact is typically between $4 and $6 million.
Wow.
So
if you're a local business owner, you need to come give this woman a hug.
Yes.
Maybe a gift certificate, but you didn't hear from me, but maybe.
But it's really fun. Like if you're down on the downtown square when the teams are here for these regattas, that you'll see them around town. They're staying at our hotels. They're eating at our restaurants. They're buying gas. They're shopping. I remember it was so funny when we had the World Championships here last year. The guys from Brazil were posting pictures all over Facebook from the Academy Sports Store. They were like, this is the greatest place ever. So we know that they went shopping. So it's really fun, especially when people come from other countries that maybe don't have as much retail as we have here. So it was really fun to see them enjoying it.
That's funny. Before we wrap up, one of the things that I like to do is called lightning round, which has nothing to do about anything. And I have two music questions, but I'm only going to do one. I was waiting to see what the weather is going to be like. So we're going to do the happy music question. All right, I've titled this Whitney Houston. So which Whitney Houston song are you more likely to get caught singing at the top of your lungs while stuck in traffic? I Want to Dance with Somebody or How Will I Know?
How will I know?
Yes.
For sure.
And honestly, as I was reviewing the questions this morning, I had that song stuck in my head the entire time I was driving here.
Now I'm going to have it stuck in my head the rest of the day.
I'm sorry for everybody listening. You're welcome. It's such a great song. You can find it on Spotify, I'm sure. So,
gotta love Whitney.
Yes. Okay, so how do people find out about upcoming events? You have social media, especially with the new the Olympic Park renovations and the construction. As people get engaged with that and want to check progress on that, or summer camps or any of that stuff, how do they find?
Like us on Facebook, Lake Lanier Olympic Park, and also our website. We keep a thorough calendar that has our events as well as what's happening at Lanier Canoe Kayak Club and Lake Lanier Rowing Club. Our website is lakelanierOlympicVenue.org.
lakelanierOlympicVenue.org, and the Lake Lanier Olympic Venue on Facebook. Is that the name of it?
It's Lake Lanier Olympic Park
Olympic
on
Park.
Facebook.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Robin, I know you're extremely busy, so I don't want to take up any more time. I greatly appreciate it, and I'm going to
coming out.
Cry a little bit on my way away from your office because you have the best office. This is the North Georgia Life Podcast. Embrace life where you live.